Welcome to the f***ing news. I'm your host, Kellerman, and here's some of the shit going on in the United States that you might want to know about. A commuter train in New Jersey hit a tree that had fallen onto the tracks. 23 people were injured, and the train operator died. Police thwarted a third assassination attempt on former president/presidential nominee Donald Trump at a rally in Coachella Valley. Or at least that's how it was reported initially. However, it turns out that it was just an armed Trump supporter, and the Trump campaign no longer believes that he was planning an assassination. President Joe Biden announced plans to provide $612 million in relief funds to victims of Hurricanes Helene and Milton, and I mean this sincerely, better late than never. SpaceX's Starship rocket booster successfully returned to the arms on its launch pad, and I think that we should take a minute just to recognize what a fucking incredible feat of engineering that is. That's fucking crazy! And speaking of crazy sci-fi shit, NASA has launched the Europa Clipper, its first mission to explore Europa, which is one of Jupiter's moons. And I'm curious, do you think that's a good use of our resources? Let me know in the comments and follow me if you give a shit. Welcome to the news. I'm your host, Kellerman, and I've got some Middle East updates for you to project your biases on. An Israeli strike on Al-Aqsa Hospital in central Gaza caused a fire in a nearby encampment for displaced Gazans. At least 4 people died and 40 were injured. Israel also struck an UNRWA school sheltering displaced Gazans, killing at least 22 people, including 15 children. It's also being reported that Israel has adopted a starve or leave policy, preventing food aid from entering northern Gaza to force people to follow their orders to flee to the south. The U.S. Secretaries of State and Defense have apparently sent a letter threatening to cut off military aid to Israel unless it allows more humanitarian aid to enter Gaza within the next 30 days. A Hezbollah drone strike on Israel killed 4 IDF soldiers and wounded more than 60 people. Then Israel struck an apartment building in Lebanon, killing at least 21 people, at least one of which, according to Israel, was a key Hezbollah commander. And as Israel intercepts hundreds of missiles a day, reports have started coming out that their defenses may be running low. So, of course, the United States is sending troops and defense equipment to Israel. Welcome to the news. I'm your host, Kellerman, and here's some of the going on in the world around you. In Denmark, archaeologists have excavated a Viking Age burial site with 50 exceptionally well-preserved skeletons. In Madrid, 4 people have been arrested for conspiring to send more than 14 tons of sanctioned chemical agents that can be used for chemical weapons and nerve agents to Russia. In Italy, the first group of migrants have been transferred to Albania for processing under a new law that will process thousands of asylum seekers outside of Italy's borders. In Canada, 6 Indian diplomats have been expelled, including the High Commissioner, after they were linked to the murder of a Sikh separatist and accused of targeting Indian dissidents in Canada. And FEMA aid is being delayed in certain areas of North Carolina after threats claiming that people were going to be out hunting FEMA personnel began circulating. Only one person's been arrested under suspicion of planning violence, but FEMA had to change the way it accepts volunteers and other processes out of caution. Welcome to the news. I'm your host, Kellerman, and here's some of the going on in the world around you. In the United States, 2 major wildfires are burning national forests in Wyoming. The Pack River Fire and the Elk Fire have burned over 160,000 acres so far. And while researching these fires, I stumbled upon 2 interesting things. One was a land grab conspiracy theory about mineral deposits, but just to clarify, those are hundreds of miles away from where the fires are. And the other is that one of the ways National Forest Rangers are mitigating fire hazards is by temporarily stopping the practice of blowing up dead horse carcasses. In Nigeria, a fucking gas tanker exploded, killing over 145 people, including children, and injuring dozens more. In Ethiopia, hundreds of civilians have been killed in the past few weeks as the government military forces clash with the Oromo Liberation Army. And as you can imagine, there's not a lot of video footage, so you get ducklings. And North Korea blew up a major road and railway that connect to South Korea. Apparently the roads weren't used that much, but the demolition symbolizes a further divide between the 2 countries. Welcome to the f***ing news. I'm your host, Kellerman, and there's some shit going on in the Middle East that you might want to know about. In Iran, more than 250 Afghan civilians were slaughtered as they tried to cross the border into Iran. Or at least that's what an Iranian human rights organization is reporting. Tehran, however, is conducting their own investigation and denies the event ever happened. In Lebanon, Israel continues launching strikes on Beirut and its surrounding areas, recently hitting a municipal building, killing a Hezbollah commander and 15 others, including a city mayor. The U.S. Department of Homeland Security announced a new temporary protected status, allowing Lebanese nationals in the U.S. to remain in the country and apply for work permits. This will protect about 11,000 people. Israel struck a UN school that was sheltering displaced families in Gaza this week, and though it may not justify the killing of civilians, they did find a humongous weapons cache in that school. And last but certainly not least, Israel has confirmed that they killed Hamas leader Yahya Sinwar in Gaza, and if you don't know who that is, he's believed to be the mastermind behind the October 7th attack last year. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu made a televised speech, which I'm probably going to do a watch-along for on my Substack this weekend, so make sure you're following me there if you give a shit.